We're jumping back in to open waterfowl. Glad that Grace has power and is doing okay. Very much appreciate it. I'm not sure if it'll get streamed to Facebook because Facebook likes to be funky. We're also doing open quail right now. So I'll kind of be jumping back and forth, but Austin is going to be here to moderate and just watch everything. If you've got comments, same as before, Austin, I'll see him and jump on in. Yeah, and I'll be watching the open quail and make sure we've got everything going on good over there. So,
thank you, Bree. Yeah, guys, if you weren't watching yesterday or you were watching all of a sudden I went away, it was storming in Oklahoma City and I lost power for 3 hours and we had rivers instead of streets. My husband was on his way home and had to stop because there was flash flooding. So that was fun, but anyhow, we made it through. We were safe. The dogs were safe, so no big deal. But I'm gonna hop back in. I was, I believe, picking the best of a breed. I'd already done all my varieties for call ducks, and I was picking my best of breed, so my best call duck, and it actually did save the one that I'd picked as first, which was the little gray call female, the young female. And if you missed kind of my explanation, it's just a more balanced bird, really good head shape, bill length, got the puffy face, got really great wing bar and color, and great lacing. To me, she is a little bit more, in my opinion, I think a call duck should have a little bit of a neck. So I like the example she has. I was also really liking, I mean, all of them, all the best varieties were really great. So this one, I would have loved to have seen a better picture of it standing up. She's cool looking for sure. This blue fawn, though, was beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and go with the blue fawn female for reserve call duck. So our best was the gray and reserve was the blue fawn. So that will be it for call ducks. And best bantam. Let's see. I guess there's.
I think these are the next three, the strip.
Next three in the bantam ducks. Okay. Thank you, Austin.
Now, Grace, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Do you judge, like, at a normal show, do you get to see a lot of Australian spotteds?
No, I don't. This is probably the first time I've seen them in a show.
I think they're working on getting approved by the APA, but I could be wrong. I know there's talk about it.
Yeah, they're not recognized, so it's anything that's not recognized is hard to get, even if it's a variety. Like I was working on blue lace red Wyandotte standards for a while, and you get beautiful birds as these are too, but it's hard for a judge to, when there's not enough in a show, to kind of compare them. You got to show so many at so many different shows to get them into the standard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they're cool little ducks, though.
Oh yeah. I never seen one in person.
I haven't either. I'm just kind of going by body shape and overall conformation and coloring. By their names, I'm assuming they're still pretty young, 3 months. So you're gonna have some of the young feathering in them, but to me, they're fully feathered where I can at least judge them. I'm gonna do this female ones first. I really like this little female too. Her head is really good. I'm gonna do that second in the class, third, and fourth. All right, mandarin ducks. All right, and I got to be honest too about mandarins and wood ducks. People don't show them quite as often. I don't see them anyhow where I go. They may be up where it's cooler. They're also hard to kind of judge as well, but Austin, can you tell? I mean, you probably know as much as I do, though, which one of these I'm judging.
Yeah. So right now, I think it's the male. So you want to be judging the one on the right side one. So not that one, the other one, but that that one right there. That's the male. Okay. The female, you can tell it's the male because of the beak color.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And okay. I would say another reason why you don't see a lot of them is because one, they're not as promoted as much in the ABA as other breeds are, and then two, they're very hard to cage train because they're so wild that a lot of people don't take the time to train them like they should.
Right.
Well, I think they should.
I don't know what that just did. Like, for some reason, skipped back to, I don't know, Khaki Campbell. I guess it's wanting me to pick are we doing Khaki Campbells? I did Khaki Campbells yesterday because it was kind of out of order.
Yeah, you chose for the best, like that male, and then for reserve that white runner. I think it was the gray or the white runner.
Yeah, so these placings should be the same as yesterday, and I'm just going to kind of show that best variety, and then best of breed would have placed the same as best variety. Here are the runner ducks, which I judged yesterday. Like I said, I'm going to go through these pretty quick because I picked them yesterday before it was like organized in the right classes. So best of breed. Then for the runner ducks, were this female, the gray, and then the white, like Austin was saying. Magpies I also had judged yesterday. I'm going to flip through here. And then best of class went to the Welsh Harlequin, and reserve of class went to the gray runner. All right, now we're on to medium ducks, which I know we haven't gotten to yet. So I will flip to where I need to be at, and I'll get started on those. I'll probably explain kind of what I was looking for when I get to like the best of varieties and best of breeds, if that's okay. But kind of go through the initial classes, just kind of clicking what I see.
If I may ask Grace. I'm not sure. Do you want to do best bantam duck before you go to the medium class?
I mean, I can. It just didn't seem like there was a. Oh wait, hold on. Maybe there was. Sorry.
No, I'm not sure. I didn't know how this all. They didn't really walk me through how the system worked before, so I didn't know.
This would have been. But okay. Yep. Thank you for saying that, because for some reason it skipped down to where I was yesterday. Okay, good. So I'll talk through this. This one is I've got a black East Indie to choose from right here. Really nice example of, I mean, good sheen, good head, really good body balance and curvature, stature. Got a really nice gray call female to choose from. So my best of breeds are going to be over here on the left, and then obviously on my pick I'll consider the reserve breed. This is our mallard, our gray mallard, which is a really great example of a mallard, and that was it. So I had three that would go up for best bantam duck. I do feel like this female, like, you know, now that I'm getting I have to get real nitpicky. We get up to best bantam duck. I mean, I was nitpicky before, but you're more looking at now the tiny little things that are wrong, because some things will have hardly anything wrong, and obviously those are going to be the ones that place higher. For me, it's between the mallard and the black East Indie. I think they're both really, really great examples of the breed that they're representing. Let me look at them just a little closer. I would like the mallard to be a little more straight along the top line of her back. I think she looks pretty good underneath. The tail could be a little higher if we're looking again at like the nitpicky stuff. The wing barring is wonderful. The lacing is really, really great. Her bill to head length proportions are good. I just would like her to stand a little bit more horizontal, like a mallard. And then looking at the black East Indie, I mean, this is a really great example of a black East Indie. I don't know that I can find as many things. I'm going to go ahead and do the best bantam duck is the black East Indie. So then my reserve breed, I'm going to bump her up to compare her then. And I'm looking at this mallard though as reserve bantam duck. So congratulations to those. And then let me get back on here and scroll down. We picked best light. So it looks like we're ready to start start the medium ducks. Am I right, Austin?
Correct. So now you can start with the medium ducks.
Perfect. All right. So Cayugas. And like I was saying before, I'll probably for the like just the the sex classes, I'll go through and just click what I like, and then I will kind of explain where I'm headed for best of breeds, and then obviously best medium duck as well. I really don't have a good view of this one, but I am going to go ahead and place it second.
There shouldn't be any watermarks on here, so anyone with watermarks need to get disqualified. Also, you're both muted.
Thank you for letting me know about that. Appreciate it.
I was gonna ask about that, but I didn't know.
To be honest, I wasn't really even looking at the watermark. I was just looking at the duck. I think the first one here, this Cayuga male is the same as this one. The same leg band and shadows are in this photo. So I'm just going to place one of them.
Definitely. I think sometimes, I know in the past when I entered, I accidentally did hit double entry. So I think it's super easy to double enter in the show sometimes on accident.
Yeah. I do like that this male stands a little more horizontal and not quite. I mean, this is a little low to the ground, not like excessively, but I like this male a little better as far as overall though. She could just have some more depth of body throughout, especially for being an old female. Okay, best Cayuga. We got a young male and this young female. To me, that stick out more. So I've got this, which technically, whenever they named it, they said this was a hen. In a show with cards in person, it's an open show. If they had it marked as a hen and it actually was a male, I would probably disqualify it. That needs to be changed but I'm not looking at names as much, so. like this male too, though. I think I like this old male right here for a winner of the best variety, and I mean it'll be best to breed too, but this one up here. Okay, so those will lay the same as best variety just because there's the breed and then unrecognized. Yeah, there's only, let's see, one. Two, technically 4 recognized breeds in the. I mean, you have different varieties, of course, but 4 recognized breeds of medium ducks. If you're talking about Farm Girl Life, if you're talking about this bird right here, you know, this is also a breed you don't see as often because they are unrecognized. But as far as when I look at her whole body conformation, I say she's pretty balanced. She's probably a little small, but it's hard for me to say if she's small based on a picture, and not with the appropriate. If I had like the standard size next to her, then I could determine if she was the correct size. I mean, otherwise I like her conformation as far as her head looks nice, neck length, you know, could be, like I said, they're not in the standard, so it's hard for me also to give some of that when you know, I'm required to know the standard ducks. Some of the unrecognized ones are harder to give critiques back on because they are a little, as you can see through the class, a little more inconsistent. You just get kind of all over the board. Like I said, I raised blue lace red Wyandottes, and you'd get, you know, you get small ones, you get large ones, you'd get more solid red ones, you would get light blue ones, and then you'd get a few that were, you know, what the group of people raising them kind of wanted them to be like. So obviously they would have the breed characteristics and type of a Wyandotte, of a large fowl Wyandotte, but the consistency of the colors and things like that is hard on recognized varieties and breeds. Although I mean, I really do like her coloring, and you know, if I'm looking at the whole bird, I think she goes to the top as the best. And then right here, Western Reserve variety. We got our Mandarin.
I would say, Grace, I don't think if we're talking about medium ducks, I don't think the Mandarin could win because of it being in the bantam class. I think someone accidentally put that in the wrong class.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for catching that. I'm gonna go back and DQ him on. I mean, he's a beautiful bird.
Oh yeah, he's very beautiful, but they just misplaced him in the class.
Okay, so this one technically would be best of variety for the unrecognized variety, and then best unrecognized breed. I'm going to go ahead and go with Ancona and second as reserve.
And then I had someone in the chat ask about if you could give some feedback on Haggis, Haggis. I don't know what.
Yeah, we'll go back and see. Oh,
that one. I don't.
This one.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know.
A little bit of condition issues. I can tell. You know, the photo we've got a little deep in the body comparatively to the balance of the overall bird. Like I said, feathering through the back should be real smooth, and so that was kind of an issue for me as well. Maybe a little big, because I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is a Muscovy duck in the background, and just by the head, it may not be. So that's just what it kind of looks like, but I don't have a very good image of it. That's Muscovies are heavy ducks. So if you're showing this from the medium class, she would be just a little too big for me. I hope that helps. There's another unrecognized variety. It is a recognized breed, however, unrecognized variety. Swedish are, let's see how many varieties. I know there's blue and I think that's it. That's the only variety you've got in Swedish is they're dark blue and they have a little bit of white underneath on their necks and then right at their wingtips. Looks like Daffy was entered as a male. Oh, there we go. So best variety. And then to me, this bird doesn't move on. In a radio show, I'm doing everything like I would in a regular show. That I would probably not even put Daffy up against the other medium duck. So yes, technically best of breed because it's the only, by default, because it's the only one. I would not mark it best of breed in a show because it doesn't go to compete against the rest of the best of the breeds. I'm gonna go ahead and mark it though because I want to make sure that if I have nothing better. It's hard sometimes in the virtual to remember what's there, but got a buff. Female. Nice. I don't know why it keeps bumping back to. Oh, now I just need to.
That's weird. It went back to light ducks again.
I know it did. I don't know. And now my showing me heavy. I don't know why that did that.
That is weird.
I'm gonna go back up here to the buff mediums. Okay, so buff. She would get best variety, best breed. Now I'm looking at best medium duck. So I've got our unrecognized. I've got a Cayuga. Okay, so for me, it's the recognized breeds and varieties go to the top, especially because this Cayuga is in really good condition as well. So looking at him and this buff female. Really, I mean, I can't see kind of the end of her. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Cayuga for the, excuse me, best medium duck. And then, of course, I'll look at the second one. I think this buff duck is nice. I wish I had a little better picture of her to see her body depth throughout. Like on this one, I can see the body depth runs pretty evenly all the way back. I'm going to go ahead and do reserve medium duck as that Cayuga. All right, let's see if it skips me. Nope, it wants to go to the light ones, which I've already done. So I'm going to go down and skip to the heavy class. Correct, Austin?
Correct. So now we need to, yeah. Correct. I think on the list it said Muscovies are first. So I think we should start with Muscovies.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So got a chocolate Muscovy male. This is one of the ducks that we raised when I was younger. So I like them. I think they're cool. But I mean, my likes are not necessarily what's going into the decisions. Ooh, I like that male. Really nice. Good wing coloring. To me, this is maybe lighting, but it's not quite the right color for chocolate. You want more of that kind of brownish. Let me go with this male down here first. No, second. This one's third. That's also, you got to remember that not everybody is picturing these birds in the same lighting. Some people are taking them at the outside in their pen, and some people are putting them in a actual photography box and all that stuff. So it's hard to, with lighting, telling colors comparatively. Whereas in a show hall, they're all under the exact same lighting. So I like this female. So this one's a little, hard for me because the chocolate Muscovy, the disqualification is when their plumage has more than 10% white. The only white they're supposed to have, I'll go back, is this wing bar white. So for me, this bird in a show would be disqualified because of the white head and partial white neck. Really, like for an old hen, this female's going to be first and then second. Sorry. All right, best variety then comes down to this male, this female. I would like to see the white barring in her wing. And to me, then this old female is, it's a smooth, needs to be smooth coloring on the way, and she's just got that almost like a modeling effect. So for me, the male up here is going to be best. Just bumps him up. Looking at him comparatively, I do like the young female. And it does tell you too, I wanted to double check, it does talk about how young birds often show no white in the wing bows. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a second because she's still young and has that time to develop that white in her wing. I talked about this yesterday, but if you hadn't logged on or haven't watched to the I highly respect judges who go back and look at their standard as they're looking at maybe breeds that either they haven't raised in a while or they haven't raised at all, just to make sure that they're getting that, body profile, and looking at, what is disqualification on birds. Blue Muscovies. So this one would be a disqualification because it's the same rule as the chocolate or black. Would be more than 10% of the plumage is white. They really only should have just this wing bar. I wouldn't say that's probably getting up there, but And again, young birds are may have. I can see just a little white peeking out right here. Probably in his next molt, he will get more. So I would watch that. This, since he's young, this may be overdone by the time he's an old drake. So, I mean, I've seen them where their head looks like it's like a teeter-totter, like it looks like it's so heavy with their little nubs that they can't. It's hard to place them then when they get too big. Oh, wow, she's really pretty. Like her head darkness. Good female. Okay, this one also for me is going to be a disqualification. That's more than 10% of white on the body. Oh, this female is beautiful too. I can see a little bit of the white peeking through. And the lacing in her is really nice. All right, best variety in the blues. So I've got this male. I've got the young female and the old female. So for me, the old female has a little better coloring throughout and lacing. Has more of the shape of a Muscovy. You want that kind of like a teardrop shape. It gets wide here, and then it comes to kind of a point with the tail. I like her shape. This one is wide here and carries the width throughout. And Muscovies, you do kind of want more of that wide, and then for it to like come up into that shape.
Someone asked, how, like, besides the, I guess it was I think you maybe disqualified it, but on Bucky's color, besides the white, how did the body look?
Let me pick best variety in blues, and I'll go back.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you. I do really like this old female. I think she's gonna be the variety winner. And then this, I wouldn't be surprised if this one though was a little bit older, just because of the amount. I'm going to go ahead and do him as reserve variety. All right, let me go back. Bucky is who I'm looking for. And he was one of the ones. Okay, is it? There was this one called Blue. And then I had a Ducky. Was it Ducky Barnes that I'm looking at?
Maybe. She said it wasn't a great picture of him. So it says Buckys. That's all she said it's not a great picture, but how is it?
Oh yes,
Ducky. Yeah, Ducky. Yeah.
I don't mind. I think for an old male, he needs a lot more of the I can't ever say the word right. It's
Kirkling, I think. Or yeah.
I call them barnacles, which is I know is not even anywhere close, but to me like the barnacles on a like coral reef, that's what they remind me of. But it's like caruncles on the face. He, for an old male, does not have near enough going on throughout his head. His body shape's not terrible. I would say condition of the feathers, can be better, would be able to be washed up. But really, I'm just going to be honest because, like I said, it doesn't help you get better as exhibitors if I don't tell you the truth. It doesn't really matter what his body shape and head shape is. It doesn't matter breed type because in the standard, the more than 10% white is an immediate disqualification. So a judge sees that and they will disqualify him and not look further. So I hope that helps. We pick best variety. All right, now moving on to silver. Caruncles is how you say it. Caruncle. Yep. All right. That's what I was thinking. It's close, but like I said, caruncle and then barnacle, I guess they're kind of close, but like they said, they remind me of the barnacles on the coral reef, so that's what I always call them. All right. All right, so silver technically is not a recognized variety. I don't believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking and it shows black, white, blue, and chocolate. And then I've got.
Are you? Let me ask. What are you working at the 44th edition APA?
Yeah, I'm working on 44.
Okay.
Did they add? I don't
know why I think so, but I'm gonna go look at the new one and see if they just added it.
Okay. Well, and thank you, Sarah. If it was added in 2023, I did not buy a new standard, just based on some of the feedback and then seeing it as far as like that they came out with saying that it had a heavy amount of mistakes and they were going to reprint and reissue. So I'll go ahead and place. He's a really nice bird. So if it's recognized, I will absolutely.
Yes. So in 2020, the 2023 does have the silver Muscovy in it.
Yep. Thank you. I have the 44th. That's the spiral bound one, and I kept that one. Like I said, just based on feedback, and then the APA coming out saying that they were going to go back and proofread and reissue the standard based on all the mistakes that it had in it. If I missed giving feedback on anything, just let me know and I can always track back. But all right, so best variety, got these two go to the top for me. It's going to be the male as best variety and the young female as reserve. To me, also, this bird should not have this much white, or it's kind of, smutty as a young male. Should be solid black, except for that little spot on their wings. Because it's young, I'm not going to disqualify it because he might molt and this color might change. Color is a little bit more lenient in young birds. But I would say to make sure and watch that, because if he's got this much light color and he molts into next season, he might have more. It could go either way, more or less. If he has more, he'll definitely be disqualified. So just watch that. This male, to me, is a little front heavy. Might have just eaten. So I'm going to go with this male right here as the young. Like I said, I'm not going to disqualify this male that has that in his chest, but Just know he goes to the bottom of the class too because of his coloring. Oh wow, this is a nice, really nice female. Nice even colors. Good condition. A good amount of wrinkles on her face. Looks nice. Got my old females. And I mean, they should have a little bit of white. It's points, though, deductions. It's not a disqualification for them to not have that. This female, to me, has got great placing, and it's got the little patch of white, but again, keeps that widthness all the way back, starts here wide, and stays wide, whereas they do, you know, like a teardrop or an old comma shape. It starts, you know, kind of a rounded front, and then it goes and gets to a point by the time it gets to that tail. And to me, she's got a decent here, and then the front's real light. Me, this female that is in first in the class, maybe second in the class, and third in the class. I'm just making. All right, best variety. I've got a young male. Got a young female. And an old female. So for me, it comes down to the two young ones. I'm going to go ahead and go with the male. No, I wanted reserve variety. No, I did that. Black. So that's best variety. Reserve variety will be right here. Sorry, glitching. Okay, we already did silver. And then, I mean, it's unrecognized, but also it would probably come out of a chocolate line of birds. But since it's not pure white, shown under the chocolate would be a disqualification. Shown under unrecognized might get a first place for condition and type, but won't move on from that and compete. I need to go. Okay, these are also unrecognized varieties. Ducky is in really good condition. Really has a nice body shape as well. I just wish that it was either recognized for variety or a solid, you know, the chocolate color. So. Right. And then the old female would be your reserve variety. All right, on to whites. Looks like the same exact bird.
I would say so. It's even in the same spot.
Well, I mean, this one is a young male, and then I go to the next. Oh, sorry. I guess it's the only white Muscovy.
Oh,
that makes sense. No, I thought there'd be more. So okay, so yeah, he'll win best variety then. Okay, now I've got my chocolate as far as best Muscovy, best breed, my blue. That blue is really nice. I'll have to come back to her. The black and the silver. And I want to say, you've got the unrecognized for me is not going to go further. Let's see, male. White is really nice too. Has a pretty good body shape. I would like to see that tail angle like go down a little more, but the photos are. I will say this is probably one of the harder things I've had to do is judge by photos, just because you can't see the bird move, and all of them are getting either phones or cameras put in their face, so they're gonna stand funny because they're not just at their natural resting stance. I like this blue female, and I also like the silver male. You see me pause for a second too. I'm just kind of checking and making sure. Like if I see the nitpicky thing, I want to look back and make sure that it's points rather than blue. Her leg color is a little dark. And then the silver. Hey Austin, in your standard, the 2023 edition, can you tell me the leg color of the silver Muscovy?
Yes. So it says face, head, neck,
flanks, and feet. In
right here, shanks, dusty blue to black.
okay, so this leg color is a lot better to me. Okay, and then the blue.
And then it says no, young birds often show no. Is it a young one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the female and the blue female.
It says no young birds often show no white in the wing bars. White usually appears in the second year.
Yeah, that'll be the same as far as blacks or chocolates. The white will show up a lot of times the next year. So he is a young male. I'm really digging this bird. I like his type a lot. That's why I wanted us to check to make sure he's recognized. So he's gonna, for me, be the best Muscovy. He's got the thickness here that goes back into the tail. He's even got a little white. His leg color is correct. And then my reserve. I do think that this female is pretty. I don't know that that's necessarily what I'm looking for. She just got a good body shape. I'd like to see her body just a little wider right here to kind of carry back and then get slimmer. But I like this female as well, the black Muscovy. Make sure to go down here to the white. And to, I mean, is she young or old? It says old. I'm going to go ahead and go with the black as reserve Muscovy duck. Okay, now we're on to ruins. Absence of lighting, drink, acceptable. This is a really nice male. To me, this male, this one's a little heavy fronted. Just a little unbalanced. So again, male, a little more balanced on the throughout. And these are, I mean, you gotta remember these are heavy ducks too, so they should be big. I like this male right here. Gonna excuse me. This first one, Chad, is not a great picture. His wing boring is not as good. I can't see his coloring as well either. So he goes to the bottom for me. All right, females. Yeah, I can't see the bottom line of this bird, so I'm gonna go ahead and disqualify this one. I can't judge a bird on the, because you see these other ones, I can see, you know, they pretty much touch the ground. I can't see that bottom one on her. So sorry about that, but. Maybe do these top birds a little closer. I wish so this bird is a good top line all the way down to the legs, and then from the legs to the tail seems a little short to me. She's a little more balanced. She's got her, you know, you want their legs to kind of be right in the middle of where their chest is and their tail ends. And this one I can't see the bottom line either, so I can see a better version of the bird, so I'm gonna get this one third, but I really need to see that bottom chest line. that's the same exact male too. So we're gonna weigh this one and then this one. It's a pretty female. I like her quite a bit. It's out of condition and color. She's gonna go to the bottom for me. This one doesn't necessarily have the depth from the neck down. So she, for me, is missing this part of her body. Could be how she's standing, but I want them real deep and thick all the way back. More like these females here. Go ahead and do this part first. I can see this bird's bottom line a little more clearly. She's going to be second. This one's going to be third. Just as far as condition and color, she's going to be fourth. And then that one might be the same one. So we'll do her fifth and not place the other one. Okay, best variety for the ruins, the grays. We've got a young male, young female, old male, old female. All over here on the left side of the screen. Zoom in so I can see. Okay. So we were to beat. That male's really nice. I think she could have a little more length to her body in general. She is balanced, but overall she could be a little longer. This male kind of falls apart with the coloring for me, and they do as they age, so that's not. This female is beautiful. Definitely in the top two. I would like her right underneath here to be a little more tight or trim. Like where this female doesn't sag as much, but I'm going to go with your male as best of variety and the old female as reserve. And that should be the same as far as, I guess, yeah, unrecognized. Let's see. So old male, if he's not in eclipse and molting, then that would be a disqualification for him not to have that white ring. I'm just not going to place him. I won't disqualify him because I don't. But just be aware of that that can be a disqualification, and especially an old male where the presence of that really does need to be there. Recognized. Got the two females. Balance. Okay, best of breed is obviously going to be between the grays. The other ones are not a recognized variety, so it's going to sit where it sits for best variety 1 and 2 as best of breed as well. All right, on to pekins. I'm going to stick by what I said yesterday as far as if they have baby feathers and they're not, you know, fully feathered adults. I'm going to go ahead and just disqualify. This is a way too young of a bird to tell type, breed type, any of that stuff. So cute, very, very cute. Ducks and geese are my absolute favorite babies as far as poultry is concerned, but I also just don't think they need to be shown. You need to wait to see what kind of bird they're going to be. Yeah, I can't see a side profile on this bird.
That one looks like a runner.
I know it does, standing up like a royal. I mean, holding up like a runner. Eye colors looks blue to me, which, I mean, they are supposed to be a deep lead and blue, so maybe it's just a good, it picks up the color of the eye really well, but yeah, you're right, it is a runner. It looks like a runner. I'm going to go ahead and disqualify that bird, though, because I can't see the side profile of him. I mean, I really can't. If he looks like a runner, he's supposed to be a pekin. This one's also kind of hard for me to judge. I can see the body, but the, you know, right where the bill starts is cut off. Can't see the whole picture of the bird. Is hard for me to judge. I'm going to go ahead and go with this male right here. Still a heavy duck class, so they still should be, you know, have that thickness through them. Now on pekins, they stand a little more like these, like this angle, but starting with that thickness and running all the way back through it, just like when we were looking at our cayugas. You want that thickness to kind of stay. I do kind of wish his tail angle, they are supposed to be kind of flipped though, so I think he's goes to the top of the class for me, and then this one's going to be second, third. I'm not going to place this male down here that I can't see his tail angle feathers, and I can't see probably 3/4 of his beak. I'm just not going to place that one. Got a old female. Not bad. Pretty good. I can see it enough of her. Okay, best variety, which will also be best of breed. It's going to be this male for me, and then the female is going to be reserved. Should be the same placing then, first, second. Okay, apple yards. Obviously, his coloring will get as he ages, but he's got good potential for sure as an old male. And she's really pretty. Nice as well.
I think that's the same photo because that little leaf right there is even in the same spot.
I know, that's what I was like. I think it's just one that's the same, so I'm just going to give a first and not place the second one. So, I mean, it comes down to there's just one in each class pretty much. I think that this young female, has great the head coloring with the arches of the, that stripe that goes through their face that they need. This one for me falls apart. It's supposed to start here and go through the eye and down. It stops and doesn't go through the eye, and it's pretty faint to see, the bottom of the bill stripe that goes and arches. So for me, the best variety will be this female. And I like this male. The young male is second as well. So that should be the best of breed standings. Okay, Saxonies. All right, so this is a male and pretty nice. I would say the broad, deep, nicely rounded is missing from him as far as that. Nice female. Well, they have the white stripes, so if they didn't have those would be disqualification. Just FYI, but both of them have them. Okay, best variety. I do like the old ducks, wing carriage a little better, but the depth of her breast is not there as much as this one. So breed type. Let's go to the female. And then both the male and the other female both kind of have that same front end problem. But coloring wise, and she's good. I'm going to give her second. And that will be how the best of breeds will stand as well. All right, Aylesbury's. Now, to me, these look similar body type and shape as ruins. They should have that depth that carries down to the ground and back. These are males. I like this one. For me, this bird's just a little more balanced. He's a little more of that kind of rectangle shape that they're supposed to be. Whereas we've got this one that has a top line that kind of curves down. Same with this one as well. All males. I know, I think that's one of the things, I'm looking at the comments while you guys are trying to kind of flip back and forth. One thing that we miss in poultry versus other species, such as, I mean, even, you go to a heifer show at the state fair or, at a national, and you're getting reasons throughout the classes as to what the judge is looking for. And what's funny to me too, I think, is that in a heifer class or in a steer class, they don't have a standard like we do, right? So really, it's just kind of what is in at the moment and what is kind of an overall confirmation. But we, as poultry showers, we have a standard, yet that part for me is missing in the judging. Now, it would take a million years probably to try to get reasons for the birds, but I do think that stuff like this is helpful when I get more feedback. If you want feedback, a lot of times in poultry, you got to track down the judge that judge your birds and take them to your birds and ask, what was their reasoning or what could be made better. I mean, I guess some judges would probably consider that a pro, that they don't have to talk through their whole judging process. But I, especially with like best varieties, well, maybe not best varieties, but when you get down to like best of breeds and best of classes, I think that would be very helpful. And then if people that didn't place any of their best of breeds or best of class, they could come and ask you about their birds.
You're doing a great job on explaining your reasoning on why you chose that bird. So thank you, Grace.
Yeah. I think I'm having fun with it. Like, I like that part of it. Because if you ever see me at a regular show and you see me talking, I'm talking to myself and I'm doing the same thing that I'm doing with you guys on these shows. I'm talking out loud to kind of process my thoughts. You just can't hear me. You can probably see my lips moving, but you can't hear me as well. All right, best variety of the Aylesbury's. I've got this male right here, the old male, and the old female. I'd like to see her neck up a little bit more. I feel like she would place higher for me if that was the case. I'm bringing it down as two males. And this old male is going to take it for me because he maintains that width a little farther back than this male does. And the female versus the young male. I wish he was just a little bit wider right through here at the base of his body. Whereas she kind of maintains that width all the way to the tail. So she's going to be the reserve variety, and that should be the, oops. Let's see. I don't know, it skipped weird. Okay, I was on Aylesbury. Okay, so best of breed, then we'll have the same standing. Okay, I've already done the apple yards. All right, I've already done the Saxonies. All right, now I have heavy class winners. So I've got my Muscovy, my silver Muscovy. I'm just going to scroll in and to this left side. It should be what I'm looking at. I've got the Gray Ruin. I've got the Pekin. The Aylesbury. The Appleyard female. And the Saxony. So all my first place best of breeds are over on the left. So I'll bump up a reserve of breed if I pick, but I'm going to go ahead and scroll through these and see what we're looking at here. The Pekin duck is really nice. I do kind of, his head needs to be a little more elevated to get that. I'm sure he's just checking out who's taking the picture, but this Ruin though is going to be, for me, the bird to beat in this class. In the Muscovy, those go to the top two easily. Just be from body type and what they're supposed to look like. This is probably one of the harder classes we've had to me. I think there's more quality like across the board in this class. So it does have a really nice body shape and underline. It does have that wider here, back to the narrow. Really great head, pretty great coloring for blue too. I mean, or I'm sorry, not blue, silver. Good lacing. You don't want to see a blue or a silver have that mottled look. You want it smooth color where you can see the lacing in that. It's really nice. But I mean, this one could be a little cleaner on its ring, on its neck ring. It's about it for me, a little clearer between here and the body color. But type wise, you know, I think the Ruin takes the heavy duck title, and then your silver Muscovy is going to be reserve. All right. We've got, for best duck, we've got our Black East Indy. We got a Black Cayuga. Welsh Harlequin. And the Ruin. So now is where I have to really look at little nitpicky details to see if I can find anything that's gonna either give me a reason to place it high or place it low. So just kind of where my head's at, the Black East Indy is definitely in the top two. It's a phenomenal example of that breed type. Getting picky would definitely, well, and at this point in the show, if I could handle them, I would bring out the bird, make sure they've got the body, and check for under the bill of the Black East Indy. Sometimes they've got that disqualification underneath there. I'm assuming this one doesn't, though. It's such a nice condition and shape. And then the Ruin will be in the top two as well. And it's, I mean, everybody knows it. It's so hard to beat a solid colored bird. So your champion duck, first place duck, is going to be the Black East Indy. The reserve is going to be the Gray Ruin. All right, so it looks like then ducks are done. If Austin is on, or somebody will hop on too. So I think these are all just the ducks.
I am back on. Looks like you finished ducks.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll have you go ahead, and I'm going to change up your things on the back side, so we have ducks in there as well.
Okay. Just tell me what I need to do when I need to do it.
Sounds good. It'll take me about, let me figure out, there you are. And I believe this is the right one. Yep. And then start today. And we'll do the same thing when we get through the geese to the turkeys and guineas as well.
And then will you also want a champion waterfowl?
Yes, but I think if I do the geese and ducks together, it's going to have you do best light as best light goose and duck.
Right. Okay.
I think, yeah. We had issues with that originally with like the Rhode Island Red could have a rose comb.
Yep.
And it would lump them together and jump classes. It did a whole bunch of wonky stuff in testing. So we ended up labeling it different. So that's something I got to do for next year.
Yeah.
But if you sign out and then sign back in, it should show up just geese now. Yeah, and for those of you guys watching quail, we are in the middle of our locust judging. So we're jumping back and forth and trying to catch one or catch certain birds in the other. That's where we're at right now.
All right. This one, just to kind of clarify, these last two also, I know they're young, so they have a little bit of time to grow, but super small knobs comparatively. You want that, and absence of a knob in a Chinese is disqualification. So just a little feedback for those, for that person who has those birds. I like these two females. I think they're a good representation. I do like how a little more clear her coloring is through her neck and balanced this bird is. Okay, best variety. A hen. Got a young male, an old male, and an old female. I like this young male quite a bit, though. He's really nice. To me, it's going to go to the young male. Now, bump him up to see if he competes against the old male. She's just a little cleaner to me than she's doing a reserve. Should be the same as we'll do our whites. Okay, so these are the only two then, as far as whites. Best variety will stay in the same way as the class did then. And then best of breed, we've got our brown and our white to go up against each other. For me, the brown just has so much better breed type, stands better. So it's going to be best of breed. And then I'm going to do the brown female as reserve as well. She has a little better breed type when we're looking at it than the white. Okay. I mean, this looks almost like a young, like, buff, if I'm being honest. Doesn't look like it isn't, but I'll give it and we'll move on. And then the tufted Roman one. So just like the Chinese, it is their absence of the knob. These are the tufted Romans have to have the tuft on top of their head. Otherwise it's a disqualification. And then, you know, the young specimens, I'm assuming, this one isn't old, it might just be kind of dirty, but they need to be pure white as well. Young plumage can have a little bit of gray, but all right, best of class. Make sure that I did all of them, all the light, the Chinese, tufted, Roman. Okay, perfect. All right, so for me, I've got the China, the brown Chinese, and the tufted Roman, and it's gonna go to the brown Chinese and reserved to the brown Chinese as well. Just a better example of what those birds are to be expected to look like. All right, medium geese. Excuse me, the wind and the storms blew in a bunch of dust, so I'm having a lot of allergies today. And I'm going to keep consistent. This one, I can't see the bottom line of this bird, so I'm going to go ahead and do 1 and 2. And I do wish that I could see this female standing up. She's got a better head on her than this one. And I think she's probably cleaner, probably in better condition. Let me go ahead and place her first. Father goose. So the absence of curly feathers on the Sebastopol front is a DQ. So this one is hard, it's kind of hard to tell, but it does look like there's not many curly feathers up there. So going, for me, the better of the two is going to be Father Goose, and then second for this one. And I'm almost positive those are the exact same because their name is the same as well. Where you can see this female has the curly feathers in the front. Now I can't see her side profile though. Can't see the bottom line of this one. Yeah, this is a old female's a little hard to judge because the pictures are so different. Because I feel like this is a good picture of this goose, but maybe a little bit not as good of a quality as maybe something else. This one's not showing the feet, and then this one's only showing the front. So from what I can see, the female down here at the bottom is going to be first, and then second, and then third. All right, best variety. I've got a young male, a young female, an old male, and an old female. All over here on the left-hand side. And it's unfortunate that the young birds are sitting. I would like to see, like if this were, I come up to the cage and they look like this, I would reach in and get them to stand up. So for me, it's got to be between the old female and the old male. I just can't see enough of the bird's body shape in either one of these where they're on the ground to be able to judge them. I'm going to go ahead and go with this female. And the reasoning behind that, this goose has an uptick in his tail. And really, they're supposed to be more rounded. So where you can see the bottom of his tail kind of pointy. They're supposed to be more of a oval shape. So this female down here is going to be best of breed. The male is going to be reserve. I guess it was best in reserve variety, but it also will stand as best in reserve breed too. So, all right. All right, so we've got American Buff. Hard to see as this color continues down in. It would just be defects as far as it being pure white versus a buff color. But I like these first two. Underneath right here is okay. This is supposed to be a light buff and then a dark buff on the wings and top line. I don't like how these wings set and how they're curly though, so it's going to go to this male. I think this is probably a good bird. I can't see its bottom line though, so he's going to go to the bottom of the class. Okay. This probably is a buff, but it is young, so I'm not gonna. It doesn't compete with these other ones that I'm seeing. So it's going to be between the male and the female. I think the male has just a little bit better coloring throughout. Maybe not quite as deep as the female, which is okay. The best reserve. These also should be. And these are probably, you're seeing some mixed with the buff. Some type of, buff in them. Those are unrecognized varieties. And then we've got between my buff male and I'm going to go with him as best of breed. And female is reserve. All right, best medium goose. Got my Sebastopol female and the buff male. And I know it says unrecognized breed here on the card, but American buff geese are recognized. So maybe just click the wrong thing entering, and I'm not going to fault you for that, whoever that is. So I'm going to, best medium is going to be the buff male, and I'm going to throw a curveball. I do like the Sebastopol. That is going to be the reserve medium class. All right, heavy geese, which, speaking as not a judge, are my favorite. The heavy geese are my favorite geese from an exhibitor's standpoint. This is a young male. Okay, let's check in. Old male. This is a really nice female. Got that width throughout the body. Nice dewlap. Take a closer look at these. So she's going to be first. And then, oh, go back. All right, it started me out on Toulouse, but I'm going to go back to the. Interesting. Sorry, it's something is in the medium class. Something's glitching, so I'll get back to the Toulouse. And I'll do the Africans, which this is a young female, which she can have an absence of a knob. It has to look like it is developing. The older specimens cannot have an absence of a knob. That is a disqualification. So, old male has a knob, not as good condition, or old female, you can see the knob. It's really good body type, though. Condition, I'd like to see her a little cleaner, so to speak. But I also am a very understanding person. The fact that getting waterfowl clean is very difficult. I like this old female. I think she, for me, beats the old male. But is better than this young female. Only thing I don't like about her is this little area right here. It looks like she's got a little pooch in the front of her legs, and I don't like that. And she's got a better head on her than the male, though. More balanced. Okay, brown, African. Nice bird. Did I already do these? No. My brain is making sure I don't mess up. Oh, I like that. I like both of these males. I think they're really nice. The head on this male a little bit better. And it's going to stand as best in reserve variety. And then I'm looking at best of breed and reserve of breed, which honestly is going to go to the brown. The condition beat on the white ones. All right, back to Toulouse. Which I don't know why it skipped weird, but okay, best variety is going to go to Twinkie. Okay, I already judged these that gray at least. Old male. And I had placed Susie as first. Really nice specimen of a gray Toulouse. And okay, best variety in the grays will be this young male, this old male, this old female. I really digging this female. I think she's a good example of, I mean, Toulouse geese are supposed to be big, and the males are supposed to be bigger than the females. And this female kind of shows that. Okay. And then reserve variety. I like this one's coloring quite a bit. Okay. Skipping around weird, so if you're watching, I'm sorry. It kind of feels like it's backtracking. But now we are on to best of breed in the Toulouse. Which for me is kind of an obvious choice. Will be the female right here.
Just jumping on, I'm thinking it's skipping because we have another judge on there, but we will see.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bothering me because the classes aren't as big as the duck classes, but your reserve breed is going to be the other gray Toulouse.
The one on the left, I think, is just a little bit better uniform patterning up front, just a little bit. And I personally like its stance a little bit better. It looks like its feet and stuff are a little bit more balanced.
All right, I'm on to best of class, so best heavy goose. So I've got the brown African, the gray Toulouse, and the white Emden. This white Emden to me is young. You can see his, you know, kind of those tufty feathers, big feathers still on his neck. So he in not as good condition. So it comes down to the Toulouse and the African for me. Let me take a little bit to look, make sure. The only fault in this photo of the Toulouse, what I'd like to see her standing up, just to make sure that body type and stays consistent. I mean, right now she looks good. Body type, width, all that. I just can't go with a bird that's on the ground. So best heavy goose is going to be the African. So let me look at the second place African against the Toulouse, great Toulouse. I'm going to go ahead and give reserve heavy goose to the Toulouse. All right, so best goose, I've got my Chinese, brown Chinese, I've got my American buff, the brown African. Really good specimens when you get down to the top ones. For me, it is between the brown Chinese and the brown African. And this brown African's a really, really good example of the breed. But also so is the Chinese. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the brown African as your best heavy goose. Sorry, as your best goose. And the brown Chinese as reserve in show. And then I think we are on to turkeys. Is that correct, Bree? Turkeys and guineas? I'll wait for you. I don't know if you're on mute or
I'm here. I'm on mute. I was talking and then I was like, she's not answering.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not hearing anything. So just let me know when you need me to log out and log back in.
Do you want to do a best waterfowl? I don't know if you want me to add the geese back or add the ducks back in, or if you want to just pick one. I can do either or.
I'd like to see the best in reserve duck and best in reserve goose side by side. I don't know if that's possible.
Yep. I will have you.
We do that, and I can do champion waterfowl, and then we can move on.
Sounds good. I'll have you sign out and then sign back in, and hopefully it'll show the ducks then. Go ahead, refresh the page quick because I just sent it through. I want to just make sure it does go through.
It's thinking about it. Thinking real hard.
I think I might be done.
Give me 1 second. I gotta jump on. Yeah, so if you go to the very last tab and you start judging,
It'll say best.
It should say best in show. 0.2 for anyone watching the quail.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had the hold on. Let me make sure we're in the right, because it splits them up. So the I'm making sure I'm the right. I'm looking at first to get my champion waterfowl is this brown African and the black East Indie. It already Bree, when you get back on, possibly it already has rankings for these on this page, best in show. So I don't know how you want me to, because like this Black East Indie is one, but also so is the brown African. So I don't know how to get it to where I can choose between the two. She may have hopped off, so I'm going to wait for her to do that just because I don't want to mess anything up on what I've already placed.
I am back on here. So are these the birds that you had judged with all of them?
Yeah, I've judged all these birds. So it says at the top I went to best in show.
Yep.
But these ones already have the rankings from
it's from like the duck when you did best duck and best goose.
Right. I don't know.
You should be able to still click. Just pick your first and second, and then
click what it does.
Perfect. Okay.
going to go ahead and go with the Black East Indy as first champion waterfowl. And then my reserve Bantam duck. For reserve duck. Sorry, they're kind of weirdly out of order. So let me.
Would it have been the mallard?
It was the ruin.
Okay.
It was the gray ruin. So that's perfect because then since I was the Black East Indies champion waterfowl, and then it would be between the gray ruin and the brown African, which luckily are side by side. I think that brown African has a little more clear cut coloring type, all the things. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one as second. And that will be your reserve champion waterfowl.
Sounds good. I will go ahead and on the back end update it. So we're looking at the new ones. So I'll put turkeys and guineas both.
Okay.
And we'll just
Yep, whenever you're ready, just let me know when I need to sign in.
Sounds good. I've got guineas added, and now I'm going to go ahead and add turkeys.
Really leaning towards the fair one, though. That is a very good example.
Okay, go ahead and sign back in whenever you are ready. And if you want to take a short break before we get into judging, we can take a short break too.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
No, I think yesterday the out was making me take a break. So
that's how it goes sometimes.
Yes, exactly. This is always a fun. If there's any kids that showmanship kiddos on here, it's a fun question I always like to ask when I'm judging showmanship: is how many breeds of turkey there are.
That is one I do know.
It's a trick question. Yeah. It's making you think, because in your head then you start counting up, but what you're counting up is actually the varieties.
Yep.
Breeds. So
All right.
I always like to throw that in there because even if people know it, sometimes we'll throw them off completely. This is a young version specimen, so not got the coloring it needs yet, but this one is a very young. It's gonna be bottom of the class. I really hate to even place that one because I can't see a breed type coloring any type of thing on a baby bird like that. I mean, my old males, really good. Both of them, pretty good. Oh shoot. I need to make sure I've got. So sorry. I clicked the first two. I still would stand by my first place in second place. This one's missing some feathers, but it's got decent coloring and barring versus this one. So I'm going to do this one third and this one fourth. It's a nice female, nice coloring throughout. I think for me that female goes to the top just because of the barring and the coloring being so clean. And then this one's like, when you look at a Naragan set, they are a little darker than what I'm seeing here. Excuse me. As far as body type, though, this one is going to be second. Third. Okay, best of variety. Got this young female right here. It's pretty nice. Still a little light. The old Tom is really, really good. Good coloring. And this female. So old male, old female will be your top two in this variety. All right, got my white Hollands. Only one here in this class. Only one in the variety. Okay, bourbon red. Should be pretty dark red. I always look at bourbon reds as having a very similar coloring as Rhode Island reds. Kind of that bricky, dark red color. A little bit of wing color as far as white, and then the tails, the intail feathers are white as well, but everything else should be that dark brick red color. Laughing at the names. Now, one of the biggest things for me on turkeys is I do get in, whether it, I do reach in and handle the bird on all the turkeys, because a crooked keel on turkeys is a disqualification. You can't really tell that even out from outside the cage in an in-person show. I just judged a market turkey show the other day, and I was explaining to them about the crooked keel bone, and they I think they understood it, because in a market aspect, you don't want to buy a turkey at the grocery store with a crooked keel bone. And I mean, it's just, they're a meat animal, so you got to make sure they've got that straight, just like a Cornish would, or a Kyoshimo, that nice straight keel bone. So disregarding that, place this male right here. Got a little better coloring than some of the other ones. Condition. And then I'm not going to place this one. I'm not going to disqualify it, but I'm also not going to place it. It's a little too young for me. My old males. Nice even color throughout. I do in the bourbon reds really like to see that defined stripe at the very end, and then it should be white with a little bit maybe of coloring, but between, like we see here, these are starting to get more solid. You want these ones white all the way through as well, just like this male. So, I mean, these ones are white as well, but they don't have then that stripe that is on the tip of the feather with the white. Kind of just nitpicking, like I said, colors. And I mean, this one's got that, it's fuzzy. You can't really see the defined stripe. For me, the male that stands out as first is this male right here. And then second place right here. Make sure it's not a disqualification before I click on. That black band, I mean, right through here, in the absence of it would be the, I mean, I see a presence of it in all of them, but I'm going to go with, those are, they're kind of comparable males. A little clearer here, 3 and then 4. The females are supposed to have that band of color as well, and these 3 are lacking that. So they, for me, would place bottom of the when we go to best variety. And really, I mean, I could disqualify them probably, but I can't necessarily see it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong. Right, showing tabs. Okay. Females are. I was looking at the wrong variety, but it's still supposed to. They're still supposed to have that. Okay, best variety. This young male, which he's got, you know, some coloration issues in his tail. Young female, not bad. Looks like she has the white lacing up in here. She needs. Old male is a better tail representation and color. And then the old female, to me, just type-wise isn't there. So it's going to go to the old male, and then the reserve will be your young male in that variety. All right, bronze turkeys. Here's a pretty, excuse me, obvious condition and type male that is going to stick out right down here. I mean, as far as coloring, they've got comparable issues as far as coloring their wings. It's kind of a flip of a coin of which one would be second and third or where they lay versus, I mean, condition and color on them. Our old male here. Missing some tail feathers. Otherwise, okay condition, pretty color. Old female.
Someone said they shouldn't have any red in the tail feathers from base to tips for red bourbons. Just that bar, like you were saying.
Okay. Yeah. Just the bar at the end. Yeah. That's what. Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, it would be. White showing. Okay. More than 1/3 of any color other than white showing in either primaries, secondaries, or main tail feathers is a disqualification. So, but I think our first place bourbon red looked pretty good. All right, this one's first will be the young male. She should have, she's okay coloring. I feel like in the back a little smoother. Tips of the feathers white. I'm gonna go with him for second, even though he's missing some tail feathers. Better breed type. All right, slate. Should be an overall pretty even, solid gray color. It shouldn't look like a splashy necessarily, or even more black dots of color. It should be pretty even, like a blue. You're looking at this, it's a little better, but you can still see some of the blue, some of the black flecking throughout. I love when these colors get it right, though, because when they get it right, they're beautiful. But it's so hard to get, like, so there's black. This is almost, I mean, in my opinion, would be, if it's any other breed of poultry, I would consider this more of a splash or a paint versus a slate, one color. So, I mean, really, in the slate, it says for the feather colors, if they're other than slatey or ashy blue, which may be dotted in black in any part, it says that they are slatey or ashy blue. They can have dots. The smoother, the better. But if it's other than slate or blue, it is a disqualification. I mean, you do want it more of an even without the dots if you can, but the dots are not gonna disqualify it. All right. On to unrecognized varieties. So really on unrecognized varieties, I go just with breed type alone and what Most turkeys are looking the same. Their body shape should be the same because it's one breed, right? So we're looking at breed type as the same, and then condition, but color is is harder on unrecognized. I think we established that earlier. Okay, best variety in the unrecognized will be this male. And then this one on the bottom is pretty young, so it's hard to do anything with that one. Okay, Royal Palms, which are the white and black, but more white than black. It's almost kind of flipped. So the Narragansett turkeys are darker with the white wing bar and the white lacing, and then these ones have more white feathers with black lacing, and a little black coloring on their back. So they're kind of flipped. And then the tails do have those distinct bars like the other we've talked about. And this is the only one we've got, so it'll be best variety. And then we've got the Beltsville white, which should be solid white. They are very small though, so if you were a judge that gets out scales, if they are more than 3 pounds, the males, or the females are 2 pounds, if they're more than 3 pounds overweight, females more than 2 pounds overweight, they would be disqualified. So you're looking at their weights, 21, 17, 12, and 10. So you can go on males up to 24 and 20, and on females you can go up to 14 and 12 pounds. Otherwise, if they're bigger than that, they are disqualified. So, I mean, we don't have the scale on these virtual shows. And then best of breed. So, I mean, turkeys do the one thing, I mean, your breed type is pretty similar, but they are different sizes. So, like your Beltsville small, is going to be small. You know, the bigger turkeys are going to be the bronze. So, bronze turkeys, 36 pounds. White Holland turkeys, 36 pounds. And those are your heaviest ones. Just so to kind of keep that in mind, the bronze will be the biggest. And it is hard, like I've mentioned before, it's hard to kind of, with pictures, see, well, is the bronze bigger than the Narragansett or the White Holland? Because of the proportions, they're not actually side by side. So I'm just kind of going to go by breed type and then condition and color. So I've got my Narragansett, White Holland, which is condition and not looking to the best. My bourbon red, which is a really nice specimen of a bourbon red turkey. And then the bronze is looking pretty good too. Slate is a good breed type. Color could be better. And then, of course, we've got our unrecognized, which won't go up against. And then our Royal Palm condition could be better. Color's not terrible. It's hard to tell because of condition. The color up in here. So for me, it comes down to, as long as I were to go ahead and check everything, make sure we got keel bones that are straight. We've got nothing looking like a pendulous crop. It's swinging, I didn't see any of that. And I also didn't see any, broken or deformed wings in the photos that I'm looking at. It comes down to the bronze Thomas male as my top two turkeys today. Again, barring me not having my hands on them and not being able to feel them. I think this male has great coloring as far as the body coloring is really great and solid like it should be. The wing bar is really clear, and then it's got, kind of that barring throughout the tail, the subtle barring and then the really big. And I like this bronze male's coloring is so good. And then you get to the bourbon red, and I mean, he's really nice type. Got a little more fuzzy coloring right through here in the wing bar, and the tail is not as solid of a bar as I'd like. So the best turkey is going to go to this bronze. Let me look at my second place bronze is condition-wise out of condition. Colors is pretty good. I'm going to go with this bourbon red for reserve turkey. Okay. And then it'll be same ranking 1, 2 for best of class. All right. Now, I'm already going to tell you I'm not going to like judging guineas.
The good
online.
news is there's not that many of them.
Yeah, right. So, and the reasoning of that is you cannot get a picture. You can't put 2 pictures on here, which is really what a guinea needs. You need the side profile like they've got, but you also should be able to see the cups on their face to make sure that they're even and well formed. So that would be, from the front angle. So like I said, I have to go with what I can see. And so we'll just go with it, knowing, having that in our mind. I can't really see. I'm assuming most people are going to do the side profiles. So that's what I'll have to judge it on, is the side profile versus the facial features.
And for quail, just for kind of like a reference, because they are kind of like, I feel like if they're most similar to anything, it'd be the quail and the turkeys. Yeah. A quail, we require 3 pictures and a collage. So like a side profile, close up of the wing spread, and then a close up of the feature for guineas as well, if that would be helpful.
Yeah. I definitely, that's my recommendation going forward, is you do mismatched wattles are a disqualification. So like if one is tucked back and the other one is pointed out and it's cupped like it should be, that's a disqualification. If one is it's just, they have to match.
Yeah.
So in order, I would suggest in the future, definitely at least 2 pictures as far as side profile, and then where you can clearly see the cups on those faces would be preferable.
Sounds good.
And I mean, I can zoom in. It's hard. It's still kind of hard to tell even from the side, but I've got this one that has a nice cup. Do her first. Do this female down here second. And I also understand that picturing guineas, getting good pictures of guineas is kind of like getting good pictures of wild ducks, right? So it's not going to be easy for those of you wanting to show guineas. Definitely a species that probably gets way more justice justice in person than it
Mhm.
does with pictures. Yeah, best varieties. We've got young male, young female, old male, old. Man, I said this yesterday too, but the names that is,
Things.
yeah, honestly, like I almost would petition for them to start doing that at shows. So you have to put the names on the cards just so I can. I don't know. Maybe that would probably be unfair because people who are naming them in funny ways, it would appeal to my sense of humor, and I guess that wouldn't be fair for me to judge based on names. But
It was so fun to just every once in a while scroll through.
sure, yeah. Now, I don't. If you have your standard Bree or Austin,
Austin had to jump off, but I can run and grab mine.
you have the 2023 APA.
I do not have the newest version. I have the 44th edition.
So do I. You've only got lavender, white, and pearl that are recognized. So this one, and if somebody else has the newer version that would like to comment, if royal purple is now recognized, let me know.
Not on the APA website, at least.
Okay, so I'm going to treat it as an unrecognized. They're really pretty birds, though.
Do like always just remind me of dinosaurs.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they've done so much research that dinosaurs were related to birds based on like their bones and stuff. So
I feel like if they're gonna be anything, they're gonna be a guinea.
no, 100%. Yeah, guineas for sure would be. All right, so this is going to set with me as the pearl as 1 and 2 as best of breed, and then
sounds good. The guineas went fast,
okay,
and then there'll be a best.
So it'll be between the bronze turkey and the pearl guinea. And I really, like I said, I really wish I could see the cups on this guinea because the guinea itself is really nice. So I just think that the turkey is a better version of what I can see on observe. I give credit where credit is due. It's a nice guinea.
Sounds good. And that is all of our all other show.
Well, thank you for having me. This was fun. I hope I don't get criticized too much.
No, everything I've seen so far has been positive. So
okay. Good. Well, like I said, I'm not like by nature. I started my very first chicken that I started showing was a Black English bantam, and I've shown, oh my goodness, so many varieties, so many breeds of different. At one point, I had large fell Black Orpingtons because I thought they were cool, and it's funny too. Over 30 years, it would just be I'd find something at a show and I'd tell my dad, "Oh, I want that," and I'd try to raise them and get them to what they're doing relate to is we find something we like, we try to do really well in it, and then maybe we move on to something else. So right now I show Black Wyandotte Bantams, 'cause I'm tired of messing with color patterns right now. But at some point, I'll probably go back to color patterns because I have a weakness for birds who are really, really good with color patterns too. So
Yeah, well, we very much appreciate you, especially with the experience in waterfowl and the guineas and all other. Not every judge is comfortable doing all of them. Not every judge wants to.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous, but I do pride myself on. I mean, I don't try to be cocky about it, but I pride myself in the knowledge that I have in poultry as a whole, and it's just something I'm really passionate about. And if I can help you get better and raise better birds, then by all means, I will. Pretty honest about what you can do, and then I'm pretty honest when I find something I really like. So I appreciate this has been fun. So sorry that it had to be over 2 days, but nobody can control Mother Nature. So
Exactly. And it happens, things happen, but we really appreciate that. Yeah.
Absolutely. No problem. Yeah. Well, if you guys have anything for me afterwards, you have my contact. Just let me know if anybody has any other questions. And
Sounds
thank you
good.
again.
Have a good rest of your day. And thanks everyone for watching too.